In Turkey, Prime Minister Erdogan is set to become Turkey's first popularity-elected president. As Prime Minister, Erdogan has led Turkey for more than a decade, and now he may want to give his new role more power and has promised to create a new Turkey, but many Turks are doubtful. Mikhail Bardavid has more.
Recep Tayyip Erdogan!
Turkey is proud of you, they cheered as he began his victory speech on the balcony of his party's headquarters in the capital.
Kardeşlerim,
Erdogan gave a heartfelt speech full of promises, hopes, and goals for the future of Turkey. Above all, he vowed to be a uniting president.
We all live in the land of this common nation. I want to build a new future where our society can come together, where we can perceive our diversity as richness, and where we can focus on our common values rather than our differences.
Despite Erdogan's encouraging words, some in Turkey remain skeptical.
I really hope Erdogan stops the propaganda he used during his campaign. We have to wait and see. He has certainly added value to this country. But now both those who voted for him and those who didn't expect more from him.
Erdogan won the election by over 51.6% of the votes. Runner-up, the joint candidate of the main opposition, Ekmelettin İhsanoğlu, won over 38.5%, and Kurdish politician Selahattin Demirtas received just below 10%. For Turkey, there are many issues to be dealt with in the upcoming days. Now that Erdogan is set to become the next president, many here in Turkey are anxious to find out who will replace him as the next prime minister. AK Party spokesman Hüseyin Çelik emphasized that whatever the decision may be, it will not affect the unity of their party.
Those who are against us have always said there will be a crisis, a fragmentation within the party. The members will split, they will fight. But much to their dismay, we have disappointed them. We have always done what is right for our nation and our country.
Erdogan has stressed his election marks the beginning of a new era, what he calls a new Turkey. What that means in its entirety remains to be seen. Mikhail Bardavid, CCTV, Istanbul.
Earlier, I spoke to Saruhan Hatipoglu. He's a global analyst and managing director of BERI here in Washington, and I asked him what this win means for Turkey.
The election was such that the opposition put a candidate, a joint candidate against them. The only reason that actually it didn't go to the second round, which a lot of people expected it to, is because the opposition parties could not sell this candidate to its base, right? So Erdogan won it. Yes, it was expected, if not the first round, second round for sure. In terms of its impact on the political system in Turkey, we'll see what he's going to do. But if you're listening to his statements, he's trying to give more powers to the presidency, which is not the case in Turkey or a parliamentary democracy system. But he wants to enhance the presidential powers. And next year's elections are very important because if AK Party gets 2/3 of majority in the parliament, they will be able to do that.
It has been a fascinating year for Turkey, not to mention what's happening with its neighbors. But let's start domestically, internally. A lot of protests earlier in the year regarding what might happen to the political landscape there. What happened to all those protests? They seem to have died off.
Well, they did die off because there was extreme police brutality undertaken by, actually sanctioned by Mr. Erdogan, and that kind of scared people away eventually. But the toothpaste is out of the tube, Phil, if you will. You can't put that back in. That part of the population, Mr. Erdogan has lost forever. So the only thing that he can hope for is contain the frustration, which will come and go, especially next year's election. We'll see that more often, and appease to his base more. So we're going to continue to see a polarized Turkey looking ahead, which is not a good thing, especially for foreign investors.
There are some significant hotspots, notably Syria and possibly Iraq as well. Some are very concerned about potential refugees moving north into that area across the border. Is he able to manage all this? Simple answer, no. And I'll tell you, it's more than the refugees, it's exports to Iraq. They have declined over 50% in July year-on-year and 35% in June year-on-year. And Turkey's private consumption is slowing down. The only way to get the economy going is exports. Now, that is under threat because of what's happening. To some way, the AK Party government contributed to that mess by not taking care of it, or at least addressing it in the beginning. The media here in the United States has made an awful lot of what's happening in the Middle East, essentially destabilization, what's happening with Gaza, Israel, Syria, ISIS, Iraq. I mean, things are a mess over there.
Right.
This election for Turkey, does it make the region more stable or does it make it less stable?
Less stable. And the reason for that is, if you look at the region and Turkey's relations with these countries, it is a mess. In Iraq, Turkey bypassed the central government, negotiated with the autonomous Kurdish groups to get gas in. That really, really upset the Iraqi government. Egypt, Erdogan labeled the government as illegitimate. So Egypt doesn't like Turkey very much. Exports are hit there too. Syria, we all know, and Israel. So there's not one single ally that Erdogan can work right now to contain the crisis. So if it's left to Turkey, the crisis is not going to be resolved anytime soon.
Would you say that his next path of leadership is going to be focused on domestic issues or focused on its borders?
It's going to be on domestic politics. He really, since he's taken office, systematically the checks and balances have been threatened in Turkey, and there's a gradual weakening of democratic institutions. What he wants to do is increase the presidential power.
When you say presidential powers, okay, a lot of people are going to be skeptical, thinking, what does that mean exactly? Give us an example.
Sure.
What
The example is, in Turkey, the prime minister is head of the executive. The country has a legislative and judiciary. The post of the president is largely a ceremonial one. What he wants to do is he wants to control the government from the presidential post. And he's made no secret of that. He actually made a statement a month ago saying, if I'm elected by the people, that means I can rule. Because
he thinks it's a mandate.
Exactly, exactly. So the whole AK Party governance style is, if you didn't vote for me, that's too bad. I still want, and I'm going to do anything I want at will.
The rest of Europe, and I'll include Russia as well, are they happy with this outcome?
Russia has its own problems, right? So Russia was not very happy with what happened during Syria, Turkey's role in the war rhetoric from then Prime Minister Erdogan. But the relations can actually be salvaged there. China as well. These are new frontiers for Turkey because the European Union route is kind of closed. There's a lot of back and forth with the entrance negotiations and all that. That didn't work. People are kind of tired of the EU talk now. That's great for Erdogan because he can move the country to the east, which he's been doing. And now he has to look for different allies and Russia and China could well be two of them.
Saruhan Hatipoglu, CEO of BERI Capital. Thank you. Up next.